Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 300 based on novel. So let's start. The next day. In the morning, almost noon, Xiao Yan sat on his bed with his eyes closed. In the air around him, a trace of source gas gathered and flowed into his body with his breath. At the same time, his body also involuntarily exuded a faint momentum of oppression, just like an entrenched giant beast, which people dare not touch easily. After sitting here for several hours in the morning, all the consumption and fatigue of yesterday have been swept away. As long as Xiao Xian returns, he can start refining Zhongdan. With the Danfang of Huazongdan, Xiao Xian naturally paid attention to this matter. He went to the storage pavilion in the family early in the morning. With the huge resources of the Xiao family, I believe there will be no problem. Back. At a certain moment, Xiao Yang, whose eyes were closed, suddenly opened his eyes. While a smile appeared at the corners of his mouth, his sitting body appeared in the hall of the attic. At the same time, at the gate of the courtyard, a familiar figure was also slowly stepping in. It was Xiao Xian. Seeing Bai Hua who came back from Xiao Xian in the courtyard, they got up and followed him to meet him. When several people came forward, Xiao Yang saw Xiao Xian's pale face and frowned subconsciously. Immediately, he couldn't help asking curiously, "How's it going?" "Basically complete." Xiao Xian smiled in a far-fetched way and conveniently sent a ring into Xiao Yang's hand, but when the latter heard this, he couldn't help but lock his eyebrows. The meaning of this word, but obviously there was still some medicinal materials. How could it be that with the collection of the Xiao family, it is impossible to collect all the medicinal materials for refining Huazongdan? That's not true. I just didn't expect to meet Xiao Qian in the storage pavilion today. He hurried me to take away the shumi grass first. Although he said a few more words, he still didn't get it back. Xiao Xian shook his head reluctantly. He didn't think that the shumi grass, which is the key to refining Zhongdan, would be taken away by Xiao Qian first. Now it seems that they have to find another way. Although the Xiao family is so large, the others may not have shumi grass in their hands, but there are those three elders. I'm afraid it's impossible for them to find it in the family. I'm afraid, look outside. Did you do it? Xiao Yang slowly clenched his palm under his sleeve robe, and his voice was a little low. As soon as the words came out, Bai Hua and his companions also changed slightly. They frowned and looked at Xiao Xian. If Xiao Yang hadn't mentioned it, they might not have noticed Xiao Xian's slightly pale face. Xiao Qian said he would give me the Sumeria grass after 3 moves, so I tried. When the latter heard the speech, he was stunned on his face and knew in his heart that he couldn't hide it from the former, so he smiled. "Xiao Qian." Xiao Yang wrote it down. In an instant, Xiao Yang's breath suddenly moved. The heaven and earth where several people are trembled. An invisible hurricane suddenly condensed on Xiao Yang's head until Xiao Xian patted him on the shoulder. The former's mood gradually calmed down. These are small things. The key is where to find the shumi grass now. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang suddenly came to his senses. As the root of refining Zhongdan, shumi grass itself has a good position in the 7-level pills. Even many 8-level pills will be supplemented by shumi grass. Its value is naturally not difficult to imagine. It is only difficult to search in ordinary medicine shops. Why don't you try the auction? The Xiao family also controls many auction houses. The nearest auction house is in Shuyang City, one of the 3 Yang cities. If you're lucky, you may be able to find it there. After a little thought, Xiao Xian said slowly, "Well, it's better to have a try than to do nothing. The right is to go out and relax." After pondering for a while, Xiao Yang nodded slightly and looked at the white birch on one side. She saw the excited color on Lian Er's pretty face and couldn't help laughing. Although the girl's mind was not mature, she was very wild, but looking back, she had been in a nervous state for half a month since she entered the Xiao family. It's time for her to relax. Hihi, the girl can't wait. Let's go. Now. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, Xiao Yang couldn't help raising his eyebrows. The former smiled at Liana and said, "Let's go without delay." "Yeah." The little girl jumped and cheered, and immediately turned and rushed back to the attic. Only Xiao Yang and Bai Hua looked at each other, but shrugged, while Xiao Xian turned and sat at the table, poured a cup of tea and drank it. By the way, there's something I think you might be interested in. Xiao Xuanhu opened his mouth and looked at Xiao Yang, who then turned his suspicious eyes. According to some rumors heard a few days ago, Dui Zong, one of the 4 major forces on the border of China, held a grand wedding and invited many forces to attend. Buzz. Before Xiao Xian's voice fell, Xiao Yang's face suddenly became gloomy. A strong killing intention that could not be contained suddenly rose at the bottom of his heart. In front of the stone table, Xiao Xian's eyes flashed slightly and his 2 fingers were lifted. Over Xiao Yang's head, a hurricane condensed into a sharp sword spirit, which pressed down Xiao Yang's strong killing intention. The wedding scene was quite big and the whole process was very smooth. However, according to the later news, many powerful people who went to the wedding were inexplicably missing on the second day of the wedding. It is likely that Du Erzong did it. Now, Du Erzong has been watched by many forces at the same time, which can be said to be the target of public criticism. Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 303 based on novel. So let's start. As Xiao Kui's voice fell, the huge auction house fell into an abnormal silence. Countless eyes were staring at the ancient scroll on the auction table. Although greedy colors appeared in their eyes, most people sat back after thinking of the amazing lineup of the auction house and the amazing price proposed by Xiao Kui. He turned his attention to the front row of the seat and the boxes. At this moment, the people present also understand that with the precious degree of this fighting skill, ordinary people are not qualified to participate in the auction, and there is no possibility of getting it. The only people who are qualified and strong enough to win are the guests sitting in the front row and in the box. At this time, the VIP seats in the front row are also silent. Even some aspiring guys are waiting calmly, constantly scanning back and forth, and carefully watching the movements of other forces. In the face of this strange silence on the field, Xiao Kui's face remained the same. His face was already hung with a warm smile, and his eyes slowly swept through the field. Everyone knows that since the auction is at this moment, it will be a blockbuster if it is not popular. Once someone takes the lead in bidding, I'm afraid the atmosphere in the whole auction house will be burned to the highest point in an instant. At that time, the auction process will also turn into a war without blood. This silence lasted about 5 minutes. At last, a hoarse voice sounded from the VIP seat somewhere in the field. 10 high-grade spirit stones. The hoarse words echoed slowly in everyone's ears like a bell in the silent auction house. The atmosphere that wanted to solidify was finally broken at this time, so that many people on the stage breathed a little bitterly. Xiao Yang's eyes followed the direction of the voice. At the front of the stand, a figure wrapped under a black robe was slowly getting up from his seat. His words did not surprise the people present at this time. There are 10 high-level spirit stones in Xiao Yang's hand. After entering the Xiao family, Xiao Yuheng ordered someone to send them, but they are intended to be used for by Hua and Liana to improve their cultivation. They are not intended to be used here. What's more, the high-level spirit stones in his hand can't play any role in this situation. On the auction table, Xiao Kui frowned at the man in black, looked around and said, "But is there anyone who offers higher than this one? 20 high-grade spirit stones." Then, in a box on the field, a low voice came out, and this time, it was a complete break in the situation on the field. As soon as the price outcry fell, the auction house was like a chain effect. One after another, the price outcry sounded from the front row of the grandstand and the surrounding boxes. The price of this fighting skill was quickly raised to nearly 100 high-grade spirit stones in just a few minutes. It is obviously the highest price at the auction. However, even so, the auction boom of fighting skills is still not over. 150 high-grade spirit stones. In the box where Xiao Yang and others were located, Anan, who rarely shot during the whole auction process, finally made a sound slowly. When this sound sounded, it was an uproar. Countless surprised eyes were looking at the box here. In an instant, the price was increased by more than 50 spirit stones. Looking at such means, it seemed that he was going to win it in one fell swoop. On the auction platform, Xiao Kui heard such a number of spirit stones, and the smile on his old face couldn't help but become more rich. He looked around the audience quickly, and then stayed in the box where the Zhao family lived, with a secluded tunnel. Gentlemen, there are 150 high-grade spirit stones, but there are still higher prices. There was silence around, no one spoke. Xiao Kui's eyes narrowed, and his eyes swept across the grandstand again. At this time, the big forces sitting in the front row withdrew bitterly, looked around, and didn't do any more measures. 150 spirit stones, fundamentally speaking, have exceeded their limits. At this time, these people can't compete with them. After dozens of breaths, the field was still silent. It seemed that no one would compete with it. Even Xiao Kui on the stage couldn't help frowning. Immediately, he quickly looked around the audience, his eyes kept turning to the box where the Zhao family lived, and his heart was full of doubts. At this time, Anan was very nervous. It was already here. Just wait a moment. If Zhao Jin remained silent, he would be able to successfully win the 1,000 seal feat, hoping that the worst result in his heart would not appear. At the moment, Xiao Yang is also nervous. Chen Feng Kai is close at hand. Just wait for Xiao Kui to drop the hammer and fix the sound, and everything will have a result. On the court, Xiao Kui finally frowned and opened his mouth. The time has come. Even he can't deliberately delay the time of bidding. Gentlemen, since there is no bid, this volume of Italian-level advanced fighting skills. Inside the box, Xiao Yang and others stared at Xiao Kui in the field with a hopeful face. The light in their eyes became more and more intense. Chen Feng Kai was finally about to get it. However, just as the last words in Xiao Kui's mouth were about to fall, a cry and clapping sound covering a sneer suddenly sounded in the auction house. I have 200 high-grade spirit stones. A word was like thunder, intercepting the words that Xiao Kui had already reached his mouth. In the box, the expression on the faces of Xiao Yang and others also suddenly stopped. In the whole audience, everyone's eyes immediately gathered on a box, which stood opposite Xiao Yang and others. The bidder was Zhao Jin. Damn it! Xiao Yang's face suddenly sank, and Ouyang Miao and others around him also frowned. Zhao Jin's behavior is hateful. On the auction table, Xiao Kui saw it, and his old face couldn't help showing a look of displeasure. Zhao Jin did so, not to mention Xiao Yang and others, but even he could hardly see it. But he thought it over carefully, but he still took a deep breath. After sorting out his mood, he put on a smile again, glanced across the audience and said again, 200 high-grade spirit stones, but there are still higher prices. Elder Xiao Kui, it seems something wrong for you to do so. My previous bid has been settled. How can others bid for auction now? In the box, Anan hesitated for a long time and finally got up and shouted with his teeth clenched. Suddenly, many people in the auction house turned their eyes to Xiao Kui. The former was not the only one who thought so. Many people present felt unfair for this. It was already the dust settled. How could he go back in the end? Didn't this undermine the rules of the auction house? Questioned by Anan and his many eyes, Xiao Kui could not help frowning. He glanced at Zhao Jin's place, then looked at the ancient scroll floating in front of him. His eyes swept the whole audience, and then fell on the box. Across the light curtain, he was facing Anan's 4 eyes and said, "This distinguished guest, I will never take back what I said. My previous words are also ordinary, but please make it clear. At the auction, anyone has the right to continue bidding before I drop the tuning hammer in my hand. Do you have any questions?" A word fell, Anan's body trembled suddenly, followed by him and sat back. His vision quickly avoided Xiao Kui's eyes. The cold sweat on his forehead burst out in an instant. It was difficult to calm his mind for a time. Seeing this, Xiao Yang's gloomy face became even more ugly when he was Ponton. His mood flew around without waiting for him to act. Ouyang Miao on the side suddenly pressed it down, and the voice of comfort came along. "Sit still and let me come." Inside the box, seeing that there was no more movement in the opposite box, a proud smile immediately appeared on Zhao Jin's face, and Zhao Mingjie beside him was even more so. At the moment, the father and son really have the same face. Based on this, even if they were outsiders, they can recognize the relationship between the two people. Previously, Xiao Jin deliberately left his hand to push his opponent down from the high altar of joy until he fell to the bottom of the valley. This taste can be described as making him turn 100 times and 1,000 times, which means endless. In the final analysis, in the whole event of meeting Xiao Yang and others today, settling down is just a small role. If it weren't for the emergence of Yang Miao and Fan Jian, I'm afraid today, he would want Xiao Yang and others to lose face and make them unable to gain a foothold in the Xiao family. Anand's fault is that he chose to go all the way with Xiao Yang. This runs counter to Xiao Jin's wishes, which also makes Xiao Jin hate him who has no good feelings for him. At this time, he has the opportunity to tease, but how can he let go easily? Xiao Tian naturally looked at the father and son like this. He thought secretly in the bottom of his heart. From time to time, he looked into the depths of the father and son's eyes, which also implied a sense of disdain. The father is not right and the son is uneven. It's difficult to do so. In his heart, Xiao Tian looked suspiciously at Xiao Kui on the field, with a slight frown. In the end, he shook his head and stopped thinking. He leaned back on the back of the chair and took care of himself to rest. 200 high-grade spirit stones, but there are still higher prices. On the auction platform, Xiao Kui's voice sounded again, but it was not as calm and kind as before, but there was a smell of impatience. At this moment, the people sitting on the stage will no longer shout. Only the guys in the boxes can have expectations, but with Xiao Jin in front, no one will compete with them. In the box, Xiao Jin was proud. Before coming to the auction, he made full preparations. Today, he is determined to win the 1,000 seals. Absolutely no one can hinder him. With the voice falling in Xiao Kui's mouth, the huge auction house once again fell into a silent atmosphere, and the previous scene appeared again. Many people under the stage looked at each other and sneered at each other, waiting for a good play, while Xiao Kui on the stage frowned and became more and more agitated. Indeed, just as Xiao Kui was about to drop the hammer, a light laughter of young men suddenly sounded in the auction house. I have 300 high-grade spirit stones. The same scene as before suddenly appeared. On the spot, the people followed the prestige, and their faces were slightly stunned. Then they turned into a strange look. The owner of the voice came from the box where Xiao Yang and others were. In the box, Ouyang Miao smiled and stood with his eyes fixed on Xiao Kui, who looked ugly on the auction table. He was not afraid. Although the person in front of him is an elder of the Xiao family and is in charge of the party, others are afraid of him, but Ouyang Miao is not afraid. As a noble son of the Ouyang family and a young patriarch, even if Xiao Kui has anger in his heart, what can he do to him? Seeing this, Xiao Yang on one side couldn't help laughing at his means. The resentment he had received in his heart dissipated in an instant. In the face of people like Xiao Jin, it's the best way to treat them in their own way. If you want to be angry because of the other party's deliberate provocation, it's right in the heart. The faces of the people under the stage were wonderful. Xiao Kui on the auction stage was no longer calm and repeated Ouyang Miao's words with his teeth. When everyone was waiting for the next round of bidding, he looked directly at Xiao Jin's place. The impatience in his eyes was not concealed at all. Xiao Jin even had no doubt, if he had any hesitation, the old man would seriously auction his fighting skills regardless of the left and right. When he made a mistake, Xiao Jin didn't dare to hesitate anymore. He quickly shouted, "I'll give you 400. 500. Ouyang Miao smiled and followed lightly. This time, Xiao Jin frowned and hesitated. The other party's bid had exceeded his expectations. If he continued to increase the price, he was afraid that even if he got the fighting skill, his Zhao family would pay a great price for it. There was a hesitation in his heart, and the muscles on Xiao Jin's face could not help twitching slightly. Zhao Mingjie on the side was ignorant and urged him to increase the price, which also made him more upset. Suddenly, Xiao Jin clenched his teeth and looked at the opposite box. He thought of Ouyang Miao and Xiao Yang, who were shouting at the moment. A grim smile gradually appeared on his face. "Xiao Yang, I not only want to take this fighting skill, but also use you to double the spirit stone lost today, 600 high-grade spirit stones." In the auction house, amazing figures resounded again. At the moment, Xiao Kui on the auction stage gradually recovered his face. 600 high-grade spirit stones not only exceeded the budget of the Zhao family, but even the auction store did not expect such a result. 700. In the box, Ouyang Miao finally frowned. There were 700 high-grade spirit stones, which was the maximum amount he could call in the family. If he still couldn't take it down, he was afraid that the 1,000-seal ruler would eventually fall into the hands of the Zhao family. 800. Zhao Jin clenched his teeth, and half of his face could not help twitching. 800 high-grade spirit stones were based on the details of his whole Zhao family. If he wanted to take them out, he was afraid he would have to sell most of his family property. If it weren't for some reason, he would never be crazy. This time, it seemed that it was as expected. After 800 spirit stones were offered, the box opposite was quiet. Ouyang Miao frowned. He didn't expect that Zhao Jin would be so crazy for a role of fighting skills, but how could such behavior be just for fighting skills, as if he came for them? Even at this moment, Xiao Yang's face is also dignified and abnormal. He is not only surprised by the final ownership of Chen Fengkai, but also for the deep friendship of Ouyang Miao. After all, even if he is the son of Ouyang family, he must think hard to come up with such a large amount of high-level spirit stones, but how can he not be gratified by such a result? Mr. Xiao Yang, although the bid is that I can take out 250 high-grade spirit stones under my name. Today, I will do my best for you. Anan took a deep breath, rallied his spirits, got up from his seat and stared at Xiao Yang with firm eyes. The latter was stunned at first, and then looked at Ouyang Miao. For a moment of hesitation, he turned around and bowed to the two people with heavy fists, saying solemnly, Xiao Yang is here to thank you for your deep friendship. On the auction platform, Xiao Kui's anger disappeared. He looked left and right at the box where Xiao Yang and Zhao Jin were located, shook his head gently, immediately raised his wooden mallet with one hand, and wanted to open his mouth and drop the hammer. 950 high-grade spirit stones. However, to everyone's surprise, even at this moment, the auction platform is still full of infinite surprises. Bang! At this moment, everyone present was stunned. Even Zhao Jin, who had just sat back in his chair, couldn't help jumping up. The chair under him was shocked and burst by the source gas in his body, and the whole person's mood suddenly got out of control. Damn it! Damn little beast! It's abominable to oppose my Zhao family again and again. With a wave of his angry sleeve, Zhao Jin blasted all the chairs in front of him and turned them into dust. Then he stared at the opposite box with a murderous face. Finally, he couldn't hold his breath and shouted angrily, I give you 1,000. The moon is like a silver plate and the sky is full of stars. When Xiao Yang and his party withdrew from the auction house, more than a few hours had passed from the beginning. In the bustling Shuyang city in the daytime, it was a little empty. Nevertheless, many lights in the city could still be seen, and some blocks were still lively as usual. Xiao Yang stood under the crafty moonlight and looked at the countless stars overhead for a long time. Unexpectedly, even if Ouyang Miao and Anan worked together, the 1,000-seal ruler finally fell into Zhao Jin's hands and 1,000 high-grade spirit stones. This is really a frightening number. Still thinking about what just happened, Ouyang Miao came from behind and patted Xiao Yang on the shoulder as comfort. The latter shook his head and smiled bitterly. What can we do now? The 1,000-seal ruler is already in Zhao Jin's bag. He can't grab it. Even if he really has that heart, he's afraid he doesn't have that strength. Why don't we? Let's stop him. There are many of us and there is a Brahma sword. Maybe we can take it. Ouyang Miao's eyes flashed slightly, staring at Xiao Yang and said. On one side, Fan Jian couldn't help picking his eyebrows when he heard the speech. He looked at the former strangely. Xiao Yang shook his head and said, in the final analysis, this is my own business. Even if I do it, I should do it myself. Besides, you are from Ouyang family. Once you do it to Zhao Jin here, the situation will be unfavorable to you. You'd better avoid it. What now? Ouyang Miao nodded slightly and said softly, go back. There's no need to stay here. I just don't know if brother Ouyang is willing to go to the Xiao family with me. Xiao Yang hesitated for a moment, and his eyes immediately swept towards the former. Ouyang Miao was stunned, paused, and finally shook his head and laughed. I think I'd better forget it. There are differences among the three clans. Even if you lead the way, the elder of the Xiao clan will never let me enter the Xiao clan. Besides, it's easy to cause trouble for you. Since you want the Hui nationality, I should start and return. If we have a chance, we'll talk about it next time. With that, Ouyang Miao hugged Xiao Yang and others in front of him, and Xiao Yang and others smiled back. Then the two turned and walked towards the other end of the street under the shadow of the moonlight. When the two walked nearly 100 feet away, Xiao Yang in the rear suddenly shouted, "Brother Ouyang, are your previous words also tempting? If I ask you to do it just for my own selfish desires, how will you treat me?" In the distance, Ouyang Miao's figure suddenly stopped. Looking back, no one could see his face at the moment. "Brother Xiao, just remember that from now on, you and I will be close as brothers. If the Xiao family really can't keep you, I will never break my promise." After a word, Ouyang Miao no longer hesitated and moved forward. He quickly disappeared at the end of the street with the Brahma sword beside him. Xiao Yang stood quietly. Anan beside him was stunned. Anyone with a clear eye could hear Ouyang Miao's words. He didn't expect that even the Ouyang family were so optimistic about him. Today's trip is not empty. After seeing off Ouyang Miao, Xiao Yang and his party followed closely and separated from the people who settled down. Although the latter wanted to invite Xiao Yang to visit the house, Xiao Yang knew that Xiao Xian was still waiting for them to send back the news, so he refused to go. When the three of them ran all the way to the arch in front of the Xiao family, they unexpectedly met Xiao Tian, who also came back. At present, when the two sides met, their faces naturally wouldn't look good. But when Xiao Tian entered the arch, his words came slowly and fell into Xiao Yang's ears. "I advise you to be mentally prepared." Hearing this, Xiao Yang and Bai Hua looked at each other. They frowned a little. Then they didn't think much. They quickly crossed the arch and rushed to their residence. When several people returned to the attic, Xiao Xian was still waiting for them in the hall. When Xiao Xian saw Xiao Yang coming back, he immediately smiled on his face, got up to meet them, smiled and asked, "How did it turn out?" "It's going well." Xiao Yang smiled. After several people took their seats, they roughly sorted out and explained what had happened during the day. The latter nodded again and again. Although it was not difficult for him to hear some thrills from Xiao Yang's words, fortunately, they came back safely and smoothly and brought back Zumekao, which surprised him very much. "Hihi, well, it's good if everything goes well. I didn't expect that the Emperor Seal decision of the ancient family would reappear in this continent, and even the power is better than before. It's also a great blessing for you to get it. You must control it well. As for the fighting skill, everything has gains and losses. Since you can't get it, let it go. Don't worry about it." Xiao Xian, please put down the teacup in his hand and said with a smile. Xiao Yang nodded and then mentioned that he met Union Pavilion in Shuyang City today. Up to now, he has not understood that Ouyang family, one of the three major clans, is just that ordinary people are so cautious. Why can Union Pavilion have a seat under the rule of Xiao clan? Those rules and obstacles you think will naturally cease to exist driven by interests. Union Pavilion is a family force founded by Tianyun Mountain Villa. According to the status of Tianyun Mountain Villa in the mainland, under normal circumstances, the Xiao family will never allow them to install forces under their own rule, but you know, there are the most abundant array mags in Tianyun Mountain Villa in the mainland resources, whether array plates, scrolls of related ancient books, or even some unique secrets. As long as these things are used as the price, naturally no one will stop them. On the contrary, the power of Union Pavilion will be protected by the Xiao nationality within a certain range. Even the Zhao family you meet today can't easily touch him. Hearing this, Xiao Yang suddenly realized that Xiao Xian smiled and continued. This kind of thing not only includes Union Pavilion, but also some other forces. If you want to take root in the sphere of influence of the Xiao family, you must pay a corresponding price. This kind of thing is not only the Xiao family, the three clans, the two major sects, and even the Dantar. The purpose is to absorb the advantages of other forces, so as to continuously expand themselves and protect themselves, hold your own transcendent position. As for other things, You have to find and experience them yourself. After hearing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help taking a deep breath. Although he had established forces in the fighting mainland, he had never been in contact with such things. Now, after listening to Xiao Shen's words, he realized that there were so many complex relationships between these so-called super forces. The night shrouded the whole Xiao family like a dark curtain. The bright moonlight poured down through the thin clouds, making the city under the night like day. In the bedroom, Xiao Yang closed his eyes and sat on the bed. The moonlight outside the window shone into the room. The soft moonlight spread out and lit the room. A substance like energy lingered between Xiao Yang's nose and then entered his body along his breath. After several refining, it turned into pure source gas and merged into the cyclone space. For a long time, his closed eyes slowly opened. Xiao Yang felt the muscles all over his body that were full of strength and gave off bursts of joy. He couldn't help smiling. Although he had been out tired all day, he didn't mean to be half tired at the moment. On the contrary, after this short cultivation, the whole person's spirit was more and more full. After taking a deep breath, Xiao Yang's palm turned over, and a jade box immediately appeared in his palm. Open it, and a mottled pill was lying quietly in it. Naturally, this pill was the greatest harvest he got at the auction today, the 8th order fortune pill. Although this pill is only a failed product, from the perspective of its appearance, this pill still maintains its original form, and even some of its power is still alive. As long as it can be sorted out and understood, I believe it should not be difficult to restore the prescription of fortune pill with his current means. The palm was lifted slightly, the palm was aimed at the pill, and a suction force gushed out. Then, the lucky pill was thrown into the air. The mind moved, and the majestic soul force in the center of the eyebrow immediately gushed out, turned into an invisible thread as thin as wheat, and slowly approached the pill in front of you. To understand its mechanism, we naturally need to go deep into the pill itself. Although this will have some impact on the pill itself, since it is a residual pill, there is naturally no need to worry. However, when Xiao Yang controlled his soul power to slowly approach the lucky pill, he suddenly found that there were several small holes on the surface of the pill that were difficult to detect by the naked eye. Obviously, someone had explored the interior of the pill before him. Seeing this, Xiao Yang frowned. Since someone had already shot at this pill, he would choose to auction it. The most likely result is that the person didn't get any valuable information. In this way, isn't this fortune pill worthless? With this in mind, Xiao Yang's heart suddenly sank, and the soul power that was slowly approaching the pill could not stop. Since it was known that there was no result, what was the need to continue to explore? But if the heart just wanted to give up, but Xiao Yang immediately felt dissatisfied when he thought of the 7 level 7 pills he had paid for this pill. Although the former owner of this fortune pill had tried, the soul power of the former may not be as good as him. Even so, he may not be unable to find out the results that he failed to find. Even if you can't come to any conclusion in the end, you have to try to know. With a firm mind in his heart, Xiao Yang relaxed again, took a deep breath, held his breath and concentrated, controlled those strands of soul power again, and slowly contacted the surface of the creation pill. The soul power as fine as wheat awns approached the surface of the pill at an extremely slow speed, then gently stroked it, and slowly climbed along the surface of the pill like an earthworm looking for a way. Until a certain position, Xiao Yang noticed that the medicine was strong there, so he controlled the soul filament and cautiously plunged in. Under Xiao Yang's intentional control, the whole process seems particularly slow. In addition to worrying that he can't get the results he wants, Xiao Yang is also afraid that any subtle action will affect the unstable medicine power of the pill itself. Once the remaining medicine power is also destroyed, all his actions will be in vain. Little by little, the expression on Xiao Yang's face gradually became dignified, and the soul force sneaking into the pill finally came into contact with the core of the pill, and the final result was about to surface. In the room, the air was silent, and the huge soul power surrounded Xiao Yang. His eyes were staring at the pill in front of him. There was only the last point. Success or not was close at hand. After dozens of breaths, Xiao Yang with round eyes suddenly raised his head, closed his eyes and clenched his teeth. His face was full of disappointment. Alas! Although he was very careful, the final result of exploring this pill was just like what he had known before. The medicine was chaotic and weak. There was no possibility to separate it. At present, this pill is really a worthless waste pill. Looking back on everything in the auction house today, even the most valuable fortune pill turned out to be disappointing. At the moment, it seems that today's line has really achieved little. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Then, the voice of White Birch came into the room. Xiao Yang said hello, and the latter pushed the door in. Seeing Xiao Yang's disappointed look, Bai Hua seemed not surprised. She just smiled and asked, "What was the result?" Xiao Yang shook her head and raised the pill in her hand, but said, "There is no use value. The only thing I found in the whole process is that the refiner of this pill should have planned to refine it to the level of 9th order pill at first, but it was an accident in the middle that destroyed this pill. In addition, I got nothing." Bai Hua reached out and Xiao Yang threw it away at will. The latter took it and held the pill in the palm of his hand. As soon as his eyes closed and his mind turned, a milky strange energy gathered in the palm of his hand along his arm. Xiao Yang saw it, and a look of hope could not help appearing on his disappointed face. He almost forgot that the white birch itself is a pill. Compared with him, this lucky pill can be regarded as the same family. The latter's understanding of pills is naturally better than himself. However, after a long time, the white birch spoke again, and his words made Xiao Yang instantly discouraged. "Yes, the medicine is weak and the medicine is chaotic. This is really a residual pill." White Birch smiled. Xiao Yanli was silent. This was the known result. Why bother to test it again? But then the birch continued. Although the nature of the pill itself is chaotic, fortunately, its essence has not changed, and the nature of the pill is still the nature pill. Is there a way? Xiao Yang raised his eyebrows and wondered. I dare not say that it will recover as before, but it can also dissolve its own drug properties and make it have a certain effect of fortune pill. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang suddenly burst out a burst of light in his eyes, stared eagerly at the white birch, and smiled with a little excitement. That's enough. Even if it's not a complete pill, it's not difficult to analyze its own pharmacology and restore the pill. After that, the white birch stretched out a finger and stroked it with his thumb. A drop of crimson blood with gold was shot out. Under the control of the white birch, it fell on the surface of the lucky pill, and then gradually integrated into it along the small holes on it. In Xiao Yang's hopeful eyes, after just a few breaths, the drop of fresh blood was all turned into the pill. Then, a strong smell of pill fragrance suddenly diffused from it, forming a layer of clouds, and even faintly there was a phase of transformation. Yes. Xiao Yang was so happy that he really realized that the medicine power in the pill was growing rapidly, and the mixed medicine properties were gradually separated. Even, there was an amazing energy, which was rapidly increasing in the pill, so that on the surface of the pill, it was frightening and creeping. This video will end here.